right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of Recovery Unplugged. I have Amy McCorkle with us this evening, who is the host of the show. I am the producer from G1NBC Live. We are live on Facebook. We are live on the Amy Unplugged Facebook page tonight. And we have Geoffrey D. Calhoun in the building. But let's start with you, Amy. How are you today?
Happy.
Good.
Less stressed out and 30 pages into a new script.
Into a new script.
Yeah.
Man, you don't stop, do you?
No. I wasn't able to write from March to through the time we filmed. It was miserable and it made me crazy. If I'm not writing, that's not really a good sign.
Okay.
But we filmed, we survived.
We did?
The filming of Letters to Daniel. We wrapped 2 days early. So you didn't really miss more days. You only missed 2 of the days we filmed. So
yeah, it was a great experience. I was glad that I was able to come down there.
You know, we had 41 characters and 35 actors.
Yeah. You assembled a really cool team to work with. It was fun.
Yeah, Mark was great. I give all props to Mark Manis. His film It Knows was great. As far, the way it looks, it disturbed me deeply when I saw that movie. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't there to see the story. I was there to see how he conveyed it through his cinematography. And it was a great movie overall, but his cinematography is where he shines. It's just so he makes great pictures. Yeah. And we had a brutal schedule. I mean, we did at final count. Our script supervisor had us doing 89 pages, 63 scenes, and 147 setups in 6 days. So
wow,
I was hustling. I haven't hustled that fast in a long time. And Mark and I are both bigger guys, Jeff, and we were just like our T-shirts just had these wet marks under our belly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's when you feel alive.
Yeah, I did.
It was, he was John was so great. We had about 7 actors total. Well, 6. We had 6 actors. One of them was my fault because I was so tired at the end of the day on Tuesday. I gave him the wrong time. I said 8:30 p.m. He needed to be on the set at 8:30 a.m.
Oh no!
And so Tim came through. We really didn't have a location for the last day. And Tim came through for a place where we could shoot a bunch of different exteriors. And the name of that place is Auto, and the owner of it is Hippie Head. And he played the truck driver who Amy thought was following her paranoid. and he
what
was
an appropriate name for a somewhat stalker.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Cool. He's really cool. He rearranged his whole auto shop for us to be able to shoot there.
Wow.
Because,
that's great.
Tim was kind of not as good for hard labor the first few days. Everybody was there.
What? This is live, Amy.
I know.
You can't be putting him on blast.
He can't even defend himself.
Listen, he knows I was mad at him. Look, me and Tim go way back.
I'm gonna stay on your good side.
This for sure. I mean, you're putting new meaning to the word unplugged. You're going all out.
That's awesome.
But he was also working another job full time.
Yeah.
While putting in hours on my set, so there was a reason for that.
Yeah, it's double duty.
Yeah, so he worked like Saturday whenever he went home after the movie theater and really didn't help. He had done work on the set till 6 and then gone to his other job and was there till 5 a.m. and then back up in the morning. So there was a reason for it. And then once he got a good night's sleep, and you left, he really stepped up his game. And so I'm really appreciative to Tim. I'm appreciative to everybody on the set. Now, it's like I told in that post, at one point, I was mad at everybody on my crew, but it wasn't their fault. It's because my brain was impaired.
Yeah, well, it's stressful. I mean, you're doing a lot, and it's a lot of pressure. You know, you're the head honcho, and you gotta deal with it and put all the little small fires out. So I get it.
So Missy was on set every day except one, and she said I was mean to her all those days, at least once. So, and then on the last day, I knew I was being irrational. I was really mad at her. I was thinking I want to punch you in your face, but I already told her this, so don't think anything.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it was irrational.
I understand. Yeah.
And she said I didn't say anything. I knew I had enough control left not to say anything because I knew if I pushed her too far, she'd leave me on that set and say goodbye.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't above doing that, but she put a lot of fires out. The hardest day was Saturday. We were locked out of a location for 2 hours, the first location, and there was right when everybody gets there, a severe thunderstorm blows up, and everybody's huddling under the over branch of the conference center. And the person who was supposed to open it up for us, she said, "I thought you were the wedding party." I'm like, "No, I'm the movie."
What are you doing?
And we're sitting outside. Well, Mark just slept in his truck until she got there.
Wow.
I'm really, and I felt bad because the motel was so bad. The fact that everybody stayed and didn't left. Mark told me at the end of the shoot, he said, "Amy, if it had been anybody else, I would have turned around and went back to Arkansas."
So on that note, Amy, we're having everybody back on Recovery Unplugged next week for the 15th.
Yes.
For to have the Letters to Daniel kind of cast and crew main all-stars of that on next week's show.
Yes.
But for this week's show, let's meet Geoffrey.
All right.
So I'm ducking out. And as soon as I'm out of here, then why don't you go ahead and start?
Okay.
All right. I'll see you guys at the end.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome a very special guest to Recovery Unplugged. Geoffrey Calhoun is a multi-award-winning and produced screenwriter. He has gone on to establish a successful script consulting business, and We Fix Your Screenplay, and an odds-defying screenplay contest, Script Summit. Most recently, he published The Guide for Every Screenwriter, From Synopsis to Subplots, The Secrets of Screenwriting Revealed. Welcome, Geoffrey. So I think what our audience would like to know is what inspired you to become a screenwriter?
Oh, geez. Well, thanks for having me on the show, first of all, Amy. It's awesome to be with you. What inspired me to be a screenwriter was actually a bet. Someone had dared me to write a screenplay about 15 years ago, and I kind of caught the bug after that. And, here we are. I founded WeFixYourScript.com and then Script Summit, and the book is out, and things are going pretty well.
Yeah. You are also a business owner. What led you down the path of script consultant, and what made you want to establish a business around it?
So that actually started when I was doing the tour of nominations and awards for a script I wrote called Pink Bunny. And that took me from LA to even London. And I flew down to London and was at a festival down there and ended up getting a reputation there for like fixing screenplays for writers and stuff. And I had fixed a screenplay for a German actress who was struggling with a concept about a woman who loses a baby. So we, ended up going out to lunch and we worked on the concept and we developed it together. And then she actually started to cry and told me that, she can now have closure because she had lost a child. And
Wow.
when that happened, I realized, like, I need to do this. I can help a lot of people and I can help a lot of writers. And so We Fix Your Script was born from that. And I compiled together an amazing crew of screenwriters that are all professionals and super talented, like Joanne Hess, Kevin Hanna, Ryan LaPlante. They're all amazing writers, and I'm very, very blessed to have them with the company.
Okay. Um, you can throw a rock and hit a screenplay contest. What
Yeah.
inspired you to establish one in Script Summit? To what do you attribute its out of the gate success? And were you surprised when Script Lab named it one of the top 25 most important screenwriting contests?
Oh man. Well, I think Del Weston and the Action on Film Festival have a lot to do with the success. He mentored me and showed me the ropes on what to do and provide value for screenwriters, and to create a contest that I could really make my own. And so doing that, we partnered with the AOF and part of the Mega Fest now, so that our writers have opportunity to do networking and gain education in screenwriting. And that's really what I wanted to do, was to create moments of these things for writers. Instead of just going and getting an award and partying in Vegas, I wanted them to be able to network with producers, directors, and other writers, and really create that ability for success and improving their career. And being part of the MegaFest allows our writers to do that, because they themselves have such a huge influence in the industry. Our writers are meeting people, they're getting options, they're getting to pitch, and Script Summit is lucky to do that. And our festival is a little bit different in that we really go for providing an experience for the screenwriters that is catered towards them.
Yeah, you mentioned Del Weston. I had him on here earlier. He is amazing, and you're exactly right. When he mentors you, it gives you such.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I got to make Letters to Daniel. I got to come to a festival where there were other creators and networked with them, and Script Summit does that for the screenwriter. I really believe that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, let's chat about Del Weston for a second.
Yeah.
So he's a brilliant man, and people think, oh, he's this giant nice guy he's got a great personality, very charismatic. But I will tell you right now, having the opportunity to work with him, he is literally the Orson Welles of this generation. That man is brilliant. He really is. Brilliant. And he's charismatic and full of life, and he's humble about that. But I'm telling you, I can spot talent, and that's a guy that really has something special. So if he takes you under his wing, it's for a reason. And the best thing you can do is listen and learn,
Yeah, I know. I totally, when I came to AOF for the first year, I had been involved in they seem to find these wounded writers and wounded filmmakers, and they accept their work, and they honor their work. And it was the first time at such a level that my writing was validated at that big a level. And because Indie Gathering had validated me already, but on AOF is just so much bigger than Indie Gathering. And
they've got a great thing going on.
Yeah, and they do. And I got a lot of people from Indie Gathering who worked on Letters to Daniel, but I had people from AOF too. So, because Clint Gage is editing Letters to Daniel.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, Del and Teresa saw talent in me as a director, and I remember in 2017 when I got my first director nomination for a documentary, I couldn't believe it, because I think it's like, as much as I'm not, it's like I believe in myself as a writer, but I feel so much more behind the curve as a director.
Well, you're new to it.
Yeah, and Del and Teresa just even if it's they're there for advice, and they're there for, they
Yeah.
and they
They
shower
they
you
want
with.
they want to help you. They're invested in your success, and they make a great couple. I mean, Teresa's a beautiful person, and they're definitely have created a family within the AOF Megafest,
Yeah,
and they want to make sure that they take care of their own, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Okay. Many have trouble mastering one form of writing. You have conquered two forms that I know of: the screenplay and the how-to nonfiction book in the guide for the screenwriter. It was among the bestsellers on Amazon. What led you to write this book?
Well, I was actually hired to travel down to Ghana, Africa, and teach their filmmakers screenwriting. So I created,
Wow.
yeah, so I created a writing program for them, and it ended up getting canceled. So I had these classes I converted into seminars, and that's when I started teaching them at like the AOF and Script Summit, and other places like that. And then I had a gap in between gigs, and I looked to my wife and I said, I think I can make this thing a book. And Dell was incredibly supportive of it. He thought it was a great idea, and I was like, okay, I'm going to lean in and do it. So I wrote this thing, and I wanted to write the book that I would want to read. So I wanted to write something that was approachable, easily understood, and not like overly textbooky. I mean, I wanted something that you could leave on the shelf and grab at any moment and know exactly where you wanted to go to find whatever you're trying to answer. So that's what I wrote. And I mean, the thing just took off. I mean, it hit #1 new release in 9 days. And then it cracked the top 10 bestsellers list in 14. And then was accepted into Barnes and Noble after a month. So I mean, it's just kind of, it's done its own thing, and I'm just hoping to keep it going.
Yeah, I've tackled people at AOF, like Annabelle Monroe. She approached me, she messaged me and said, you really should write something about having a mental illness and then thriving creatively.
Oh, yeah.
You have
It's
something.
it's a good idea.
And I wrote it, and then she and Dell wrote intros to it. That's just again where AOF is such a supportive place.
Yeah.
And I can't. Whenever I tell people, it's like I tell them to enter it. And there's a screenwriter, Valerie Schwartzfigger. She has done very well at Script Summit this year.
Yeah, she's great.
And she gets down on herself. She had someone tell her MegaFest is where they accept everyone and it's no big deal if you win. I said, Valerie, I'm actually rooming with her. So when you go, it's going to change your life, because it changed mine when I went in 2016.
Yeah.
It's just life changing, and it alters your career. It
does. Yeah. And I think that the awards they give out are justified and given out to talented writers. So I'd have beef with that statement.
I'd have beef with it too.
Yeah.
And because the writer said, I've been there twice, I've won twice. It's a hard thing to win at AOF. I said, Valerie, let me give you an example. Say there's 3,000 official selections. There's 28 winners. That's a lot. That's big odds. And
all right, you want to talk numbers? We'll talk numbers, because I happen to run a festival.
Okay, good. Yes.
All right, let's talk numbers, because I was actually gonna do this for the summoners that show up. If you make, at least for our festival, I cannot speak for AOF, but if you make the official selections for Script Summit, you're in the top 25% of all screenwriters that have entered. That means you've beat out hundreds of other writers. Now, if you make it to a finalist, you're in the top 10% of every writer that's submitted. to those festivals. So you've beat out even more hundreds of writers. I mean, it's insane. If you win, you're the top 1%. So
amazing.
Just to be an official selection is huge, because you have made it past an elimination point more than 75% of other writers. I mean, that's insane. And then if you make it to the finals, you're in the top 10%, 1 in every 10 people. I mean, those are crazy. So making it like that, just being selected like that, is a big deal, and is all the validation you need. Now, if you win an award, that's fantastic. Everybody wants a trophy. But if you don't win an award, you're still really doing great. I mean,
the official selection means something at AOF, because they say they want every great script.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you look at it. And Script Summit's the same way. They say, send us your best.
Yeah.
But I think I tell her the point of AOF is not necessarily the trophy, but it can be if you want it to be, but it's to go there and to meet all these other creators, and to make, I heard Dale put it once as, make little AOF babies.
I've never heard that. I love it. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, definitely. Building out your network is huge, and I think that's super funny. I mean, for really, us,
mega.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the main point of, if a festival does its job, you go there, you network, you make friends, you meet people who. I've met people who have mentored me and made me a better filmmaker over the last 3 years. Yeah. And then I've got Dell, who always is on hand for advice and helping hand. And, you don't get that at every festival.
No, you don't. There's definitely some festivals that are just cash grabs. And, this is one that's invested in you. And I took that energy and poured it into Script Summit, so that we're invested in our writers. We want to see them succeed. We want to see them build out their network. We want to get exposure for them. So that's why I do things like the In the Spotlight featurettes for our writers. And those are random to whoever's interested. It's not, only select people get it. We want to help everybody. And doing like the little In the Spotlight featurettes, we've had people pick up more interviews because they were so impressed with the featurettes that we did on them. So it's working. It's getting exposure for our writers, and it's just a really cool thing.
Okay, in the independent world, where there is a constant struggle of getting your screenplay produced. I mean, it's in Hollywood too, but with indie films, it's money. You are one of the rare multi-produced screenwriters I know. Could you lay out the roadmap that brought you to this point?
Wow. Yeah. For me, it's always been networking, right? Building that network through, going to seminars or going to events or going to mixers or going to film festivals and just meeting people. And for me, when I network with somebody and I don't just try and sell them my spec. And I think that's kind of an issue that a lot of beginner writers do, is they meet somebody and they think, do you want to buy my spec? Do you want to buy my spec? And then they're just pitching the spec. When I meet somebody and I approach them, I listen. I'll listen to them, because people like to talk. And they like to talk about themselves. So I will just listen. And then when it comes time to them asking about me, I will have already learned enough about them to know what they need. What are they working on? What are they struggling with? I might even put in primer questions to see what their difficulties are with their projects. And then I try and fill that need. I've been standing in line before, waiting to walk into an event with a producer who said, I'm having a real hard time with my concept. And I said, what's your concept? And they told me, and then they said, well, I couldn't outline. And then I outlined it for them in 5 minutes. And just waiting to walk into the event to get an award, and watch their eyes glaze over, and they go, you just did that. Like, you just solved the whole script. Like, yeah, that's what I do. And now that person wants to work with me, So that's what I try to do. I try and fill that need for who I'm working with. And it also helps to be likable. You don't want to be,
Yes.
you don't want to be like that arrogant jerk. So,
yeah. Nobody likes that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Yeah.
Okay. Everyone's path to success has obstacles. You have shared that you have dyslexia.
Yeah.
Did that discourage you? And what steps do you take, not just to function, but thrive in an industry that frowns on disability?
Well, lately, since the book came out, I've been more open to talking about it, because I kind of want to champion that, like you do with recovery. Like, champion that you can do things. You don't have to be perfectly normal. You can have your weird. You can have your weird issues, and so that's what we do. And to really reach out to people. As far as the process goes, my first 20 drafts are pretty bad as far as spelling goes. Luckily I've got people that work with me that are able to, they're just aces when it comes to correcting spelling and grammar and all of that things. And so I make sure they're on board before I send anything out to anybody, so that whoever I work with gets a clean and perfect script, whether it's a client or a spec I do. But it has gotten better over the years. It used to be really bad. But one thing I will notice is, if I've been writing for a long time, or if I'm really tired, then it gets pretty ugly. But I don't let it stop me, because there's actually a little bit of a superpower when it comes to having dyslexia, is that we think visually. So we think in pictures, and so all I have to do writing a scene is I just see the scene, and then I just describe the scene that I'm looking at, and it actually makes everything way easier. I don't have to sit there and guess what I'm looking at like a normal person would. I just go like, oh, there's the guy in the street, and I just write it, because I'm looking at him. So.
Okay. When functioning in a society that sees disabilities as human weakness, how have you fought stigma so that you could get help?
Oh, well, for me, growing, listen, when I was a kid, I used to bribe the other kids on the playground with a Hostess cupcake if they would do my spelling homework, or help me with that type of thing. So my mom was like, you're like really into sweets. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And I was just like stealing them and taking them to school and be like, will you help me with my spelling homework? And I'd hand them out. So like, that's what I would do on recess, instead of like punching girls in the arm and running away, or, going down a steel slide that'll burn my legs. I would bribe the other kids to help me through school. So, I just, it kind of taught me to really have a sense of proving that I can do it. And I think that's hardened me into being tenacious and not being someone that gives up, because I have had to fight for it. It wasn't given to me.
Yeah. What has your greatest challenge been in seeing your career bloom the way it has?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I don't know if I've had real challenges yet. I mean, last night I was signing books at a mixer, and a guy came up to me and said my name and said he knew who I was because he's seen me all over the place. And that was the first time I've ever been recognized in public by someone. They're like, you're Geoffrey D. Calhoun. I've heard about your book, man. And he like runs up to me and acts like he knows me. Like, I don't know who you are, but do you want a book? And so, he took a book and I signed it, but I was just like, yeah, okay, things are starting to change. I think I don't feel like, I don't know. I don't think I'm well known or anything. I just think a select few people may have heard of me, and that's about it. I'm just a dude who writes screenplays. So, but on top of that, I think one thing, a big challenge in my career is when I had gotten to the point to where I knew I was pretty good at this stuff, and it wasn't a beginner anymore. I knew like this is what I should be doing, and I was still taking free gigs or deferred gigs or gigs on promise and working for everybody because I was just trying to get that one opportunity. And then I finally was convinced by some friends that look, man, you need to get paid for this. And I remember I was driving and I was thinking to myself, if I don't start charging for what my value is, I'll never get paid. And once I did that, things started to really change. But you have to know what you're worth first, because I know some writers that are charging 20,000, and might be overcharging a bit. But
what has your greatest challenge in your personal life been where your career is concerned?
It's the balancing act, really, because I am pulling 60 to 80 hour weeks now between We Fix Your Script Summit, being a dad, living life, doing everything, being a husband. So for me, it's balance. I actually ended up about 4 months ago shopping at Kroger. I don't know if you guys have Kroger, but it's a grocery store.
Yeah, we have Kroger.
So here I'm from Michigan, so we call it Kroger's because everything is plural.
Yes.
So,
call it Kroger's here in Kentucky.
So I'm shopping at Kroger's, and I had a real bad disease spell, and I hit the floor. I couldn't see straight, and everything was spinning. And I ended up going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, you look pretty normal. Your blood pressure's crazy. And she's like, tell me about your week. And I was like, well, I'm pulling like 15-hour days. I'm doing all this stuff. And she's like, oh, you're exercising. And like, well, that'd be a nice idea. And she goes, well, when was the last time you took a day off? And I just sat there. I was like, I couldn't even tell you. And so her prescription was take a day off. So I took a day off and slept like 15 hours and felt amazing and realized, okay, so now I have to schedule one day off a week. Like this is like my PlayStation day, hanging out with my kid and chilling with the wife. And so I think that's been my biggest problem is finding time for me, because I'm always on that grind, trying to get the next gig, trying to make sure that We Fix Your Script is getting out there, and making sure I'm meeting the needs for all the script summiters, and really trying to do my best, because there's only so much time on the planet, and I know that. So yeah, I think that, and now I'm working out too, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I recently thought about it, and I haven't been on a non-work related vacation in 8 years since I started writing books.
Yeah, no, I completely feel that. Like people tell me you must be excited to go to Vegas, and I am excited to go to Vegas, and I'm excited to see the summoners, but it's work. I'm not going out there and we're not partying. Yeah.
No.
You might find me though, and I'm not gonna lie, you might find me in my jammies at a card table. But at that point, I'm not gonna care. So that might happen. But yeah.
Okay. I found as I pursued proper treatment over the years, I learned to ride the waves of bipolar disorder and made it work where my writing and filmmaking were concerned. Have you done something similar with your dyslexia?
I can't say from dyslexia, but I can tell you as a kid, I was pretty isolated. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I sat alone during lunch. I mean, that was what it was. I mean, all the way through high school, because I didn't understand other children. To put it plainly, they wanted to talk about girls or drugs or stupid things from the 90s that I could care about less about, like slap bracelets, and I was just not interested. I was way more as into books. I was about really knowledge-based learning, weird things like that. So I ended up really studying other kids, just watching them, watching their mannerisms, watching their personalities, trying to figure them out. And I think because of that, I'm able to write character better because I can write several different characters with several different quirks that feel very realistic. And I think it's because I just break people down by their personalities and who and what they are. Because I spent 15, 20 years as an observer. So I think that could be what I think I've done.
Okay. Finally, let's have a little fun. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
First of all, I'm already having fun. So, you can't see it through the beard, but it's there. What would the title of my movie be?
Of your life.
Of my life?
Yeah. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
It's Worth the Fight.
That's a good title.
I should write or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
If you could cast anyone in the cinematic universe to play you, who would it be?
Anybody? Am I directing it? Because I'd want somebody cheap. I'm not gonna. No. Let's see. Talent wise, who would play me? Just because I'm a fan, I'd like Mark Strong. Even though he's a little older than I think Mark Strong is pretty amazing.
Okay. Okay. What is your proudest accomplishment in your life?
Yeah, I'm getting tacky on you, but it was the birth of my son.
That's okay. Dale said the same thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, he said when he defended Teresa against 17 men in Vegas.
That's amazing.
They catcalled her.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Who said that?" And instant, you know how he is.
Yeah,
he said, "Who
intense.
is that?" And everybody shut up.
Yeah, so that's pretty amazing.
He said the birth of his daughter, and the birth of his son.
Yeah, I think, definitely. I think with Dana and I, it's the fact that we've been together 19 years, and it's still going, and it's good. That for me is pretty incredible, and that we've grown closer and closer and closer, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm gonna give you a funny story.
Okay.
So Dana ended up having an emergency. I was having surgery. Dana and my wife ended up having emergency surgery for Jonah's birth because his vitals were dropping and it had to be done right away. We weren't expecting for 3 weeks, and we didn't even have the baby room ready. So we're in there holding her hand, and they're doing their thing. They're slicing her open, and the baby starts crying, but I'm 100% focused on Dana because I'm there for her,
Yeah.
And the first thought I had, and I like to say this is the last single man thought I ever had before I became a father, was someone shut that baby up. We're trying to have a kid. And that was the last thought I had as a single man. And And then Danny goes, "Is that her baby?" And I went, "Oh my God." And then I felt like I was reborn as a father.
Yeah.
And they brought him over, and I held him, and she was there. And I said, "Open your eyes, kiddo. Look at your new life." And he just peeked one eye open and popped it down. And I was like, that was so crazy. And then now he's like a big little man. He's just a huge kid.
Lastly, we all have support networks in our lives that allow us to do what we do. What would you like yours to know?
Thank you. That you have my utmost gratitude, respect, and loyalty. That your belief and faith in me does not go unnoticed and will always be rewarded.
Okay. Well, that's the last question. John?
Yes. Hello.
That wasn't so bad.
Hello?
How's it going? Good interview.
Oh, thank you. It was fun.
Laura was watching. A couple other people were in and out. We had some encoding issues in the beginning, but I have a copy of the interview from Zoom, so I'll download that and put that up for replay so they can get the full interview.
Yeah, I noticed the red recording button.
Yep.
So I knew we must be having
But
trouble.
I made a couple of fixes to the settings, and we might be good.
Okay.
Might. But
Yeah.
great interview. Yeah, Jeff. I thought
Thank you,
very
sir.
candid responses, but also very funny. And so Amy, I have a little bit more inside information. Why? How? Because we're going to be having the letters to Daniel cast and crew on the 15th next week.
Right.
How was Jeff inspirational, or how did he? And if I missed when you guys were talking about this, I apologize. But how influential was he in letters to Daniel, the project, and the film? Would you say?
Okay. Well, on the worst day of the year last year, I spent a lot of time in the hospital last summer because my sodium levels were dropping because of one of the medications I was on. And my psychiatrist did not handle my fears well. I had been on this drug cocktail for like 10 years. And so she's telling me it's going to change. And my biggest fear, obviously, I'm thinking I'm going to go back to the way I was. And I desperately did not want that. And I'm in the car driving home and I'm bawling. And I'm missing, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to go, the whole deal. And she said, stop crying. You can't drive if you're crying. You can't see.
It's good advice.
I got home and I was good. My aunt, I was going to be taken to her follow-up appointment for her knee surgery. And I also had signed up for a free consultation.
Yeah, with WeFixYourScript.com. Yeah, right. I remember that.
And so he calls. I see them. I'm like still emotional. And I see the number.
Did you know that at the time?
Did I know she was emotional? Yeah. I just thought she was so happy to talk to me that she was overwhelmed with dread.
He just has that very
fear.
Dry delivery. I recognize it because I have it as well. So.
Yeah.
I had gone to ICFF earlier in the year, and a lot of people talked of big game, but they basically said, I want to get paid for making your movie. And I'm thinking, I'm not even going to get paid for making my movie.
Right.
Right.
You're not a big producer with a capital P, or the executive producer, or someone who's someone who's an investor. I don't think you want to, because they all told me you'll never, at ICFF, I had several men tell me in positions of power, as long as you insist on directing this, it will never get made. It will never get made. It will never get made.
I remember that. And I believe I remember telling you that it's your project and you have to find a way to do it. And that if Sylvester Stallone can get Rocky made, if Matt Damon and Ben Affleck can get Good Will Hunting made, then I think you can't get Letters from Daniel made.
Well, when you first called, I was like on the verge of tears, and I didn't want to start bawling on you. You don't really know me, so. But he just said, you can do it for free. You can get people from around there. Well, only one person from Nashville came. The two lead actresses came from Knoxville, and everybody else was from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Ohio, Michigan.
And you got it done.
And I got it done.
Yeah.
You got it done.
And,
you had a national cast and crew.
Yeah. And he was very influential. I just needed to find someone who could help me raise at least enough money to get started. And so I'm not going to say what our budget was because it was minuscule, but it's more money.
We'll wait till after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to disclose that.
It's minuscule, but it was enough money that I could do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I was lucky that I had cultivated from AOF relationships with Mark Manis and Clint Gage, and they were on board.
Which those guys, I mean, I don't know if you know them, but the talent that you pulled together is impressive, and it's going to make your film pop. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, Valio, I don't know if you've ever heard his music. He's
great. I've heard his stuff.
Yeah, he's scoring the film.
Oh, good.
So
the full feature, the inspiration for the full feature was ignited by Mr. Calhoun. Can we say that?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I can't.
To build the team?
To light a fire.
I answered the phone and listened.
You're like, I'm going to get this done my way, and you did, and I think that was...
Yeah, it's like I finally said, I was like, fuck it. No, like,
that's right.
I can't, these people telling me I can't do it, who the hell are they? I went to ICFF, and I talked to people, and the thing, that's the International Christian Film and Music Festival, and the problem with going there is that there is inherent stigma in that group of people. They think you can pray it away, or God made this happen to you so you could help other people. I don't believe that bullshit. Nobody would ask someone to endure bipolar disorder just so they can share their story. But I knew I needed to, and it helps. Missy said, "I did this for you." She was the overall producer of the film, and we're both executive producers, but she's the big P. She was the main boss.
That's good.
And she said, "I did this for you. I spent my money for you." She told me I was mean to her, but I'm not surprised. I mean,
right.
But she's the kind of person. She's not been able to go to AOF yet. So every time I think Missy, everybody's like, who the hell is this Missy? I think she's made up, you know. But you've seen her, Geoffrey, because she was with me at Indie Gathering.
I mean, I've seen pictures, but are those real pictures?
I've seen her at Indie Gathering twice. And
but did you?
She saw her on set.
Hey, it's a kick-ass hologram. That's what it is.
No, yeah, I know. I sat behind you and Missy at the very first Indie Gathering I went to, actually. And that year you won so many awards. I asked you if you needed a wheelbarrow to get them. That's the first thing I ever said to you. I said, "Do you need a wheelbarrow with that?" And you looked at me slightly confused, and then I lost it, started laughing, and then he started laughing. Because there was so many awards, she couldn't hold them all. It was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
So
at Indie Gathering, let's see. So last year was 12, 40. I've won 57 awards out of 59.
There you go.
Gathering, but I've never gotten the big award, and that's what I want.
You want that belt? Okay.
I want that belt.
I feel you.
But it's hard because there's a lot of great writers at Indie Gathering. There's a lot of great.
There really is.
At Indie Gathering, a lot of people go on to AOF from Indie Gathering.
Yeah, Indie Gathering is a great place to really meet people and start out going to festivals, because it was the first festival I went to outside of a couple of other festivals I went to. I actually ended up in a festival in LA which was the very first festival I went to, where we bumped into Nick Cage on the way to the festival, and that was kind of cool. And my wife was completely starstruck. And then we got to the festival, and there was a dozen people there. And that was it. And I was like, well, we should try and go hang with Nick Cage. But yeah, so then when I got to Indie Gathering, saw hundreds of people. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then from there going to the AOF, and you see it's even bigger and bigger. You're like, this is where this stuff's at. This is where I need to be doing. So yeah, I think those are great festivals.
Yeah, it's like you said, at Indie Gathering, you can move, you can network unilaterally. It's like, right?
Yeah, lateral. Yeah, well, So with Indie Gathering, there's lateral network, absolutely, and you do that everywhere, and you can meet producers that can help you make stuff too. But I met I met all of the We Fix Your Script crew at Indie Gathering. Now this is the really interesting thing.
Yeah.
That's the talent. That's the talent that Indie Gathering pools, because I've traveled around the country and often to Europe and didn't find a writer I wanted to work with. I go to Indie Gathering and I find 3 of them. I'm like, I need to make a company and hire these people. They're freaking amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I met John. Okay, so I met Brandon Bell, who plays Patrick in Letters to Daniel.
Before we do that, Janet says congratulations. She's so proud of you.
Oh, Janet Manis?
Yep.
Yay! I love Janet.
Janet, thank you for giving us Mark.
Letting him come to.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So get on to talk about Brandon and myself, please.
Yes. Let's move on to you.
I met Brandon at Indie Gathering in 2016. It's where I met Valio too, and was that 2000? Yeah, it was 2016. And I told Valio I worked with him and I ended up working with him on Black Gold, The Trail to Standing Rock. And that was something of a departure for me, because all my documentaries had been about mental health, and that one was more political than it was anything else.
Okay.
And it was an incredibly stressful movie thing. It was a steep learning curve. I never want to live through that again. It was a nightmare. But because I went through what I went through on that set, I knew what I would accept on Letters to Daniel. And I worked with Brandon on 2 short films, Broken and The Weekend. And at Broken, he was nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Short at AOF. So I knew he was the real deal. And he's a very, how some actors will only turn it fully on when the camera's on them.
Sure.
He is an unselfish actor. He brings it to every
that's great.
day. And he's very open, and he's good for set morale. So I knew I would want him on Letters to Daniel. But as you know, there's no real big scene for a guy in Letters to Daniel.
Right.
It's a predominantly female cast. And we actually expanded, because Patrick was a real person in that he helped us with Thanksgiving dinner, but he wasn't Missy's boyfriend. Missy just said, I want a boyfriend. So I picked him, and Patrick is actually a skinny white blonde kid, and Brandon Bell is a 6'3" black man. So it just suspension of disbelief.
Wow.
Nobody, and he's a good actor, and then through him, whenever I was doing Broken, after we shot 25 pages in one day, we were all busted, and the shoot was done, and we were sitting around drinking, and they did interviews, because Brandon was connected to G1 NBC, and so Brandon interviewed us, and the line producer there also interviewed us, and that's how I came to. And then when we met online, I met John through Brandon. So John ended up, whenever I found out this agent was lying to me about having funding for the film and a bunch of other stuff, I turned to John to kind of like staunch the bleeding. He helped raise the profile of Letters to Daniel, and he showed all my films, and he's been a real big supporter. And then
That's wonderful.
When we had a no show actor, he got recruited to be Missy's dad.
I thought I was gonna have to memorize all these lines. It was like 4. It was like this very big deal to get me to say yes. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking through the script, and I'm like, Brandon, do you see the name Harold that he wrote? And I'm like, oh, they want me to do this in a night. And I'm like, oh, I only have to learn 4 lines. Sweet, got it, no problem.
He was great. John was great. Everybody on set was great. Like I said, even though, okay. Yeah, Geoffrey, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Amy. I really appreciate it.
I really, and your book, oh
what,
God,
can you tell me what the name of it is again? Geoffrey?
Thank you. It's The Guide for Every Screenwriter.
Okay.
It was a #1 new release on Amazon and is now available everywhere. I mean, Barnes & Noble, Nook, Kindle, Apple Book,
Cool stuff, man. That's great.
Thank you.
And
yeah,
and Janet says that you rock as well.
She rocks.
And where at in Michigan do you live, or like kind of what area?
I'm in the Metro Detroit area.
Okay, I had a flashback when you said Kroger and Kroger's.
Kroger's.
Gotta go to Kroger's.
Gotta go to Kroger's, man.
But it's Kroger.
Yeah,
Because I used to live in Toledo.
Yeah, it's not soda, it's pop.
Yep.
And in Kentucky, it's Coke. Everything's a Coke.
Everything, yeah, Sprite Coke, root beer Coke,
It's
it's crazy.
It's pop over here.
Yeah, it's pop, yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show, and
Thank you.
and I look forward to going out to Script Summit. And I just wanted to say, I talked to Clint, John, and he got his start in a TV talk show at a local news channel, editing it and directing it, and he has been saying a lot of what I need to do, and I got the first sponsor to sign on for Recovery Unplugged for the pilot.
Good.
Great.
And
Good.
that's what I'm a finalist with at Script Summit.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
So,
yeah, and you're involved with Script Summit too, aren't you?
Yeah, I run it. I'm the director. Yeah,
He
I don't
created
judge.
it.
I don't judge it. I have judges, so we farm that out, and then they give me the list, and we go from there. So, but I think that's pretty awesome that you made the finals, because that's so hard to do.
yeah, well, the pitch summary, I thought that had the least chance of all the. I entered like 5 different things into Script Summit, and Bryce got through to the official selection, and I actually won short action at Indie Gathering with that, and then won at AOF in 2017 for best action sequence in a short.
Yeah.
But I know how many good writers are at AOF and Script Summit. It's just intense. Like, I know some great writers who didn't make the finals.
It is. It's intense. The competition is fierce.
Well,
it just is.
Recovery Unplugged was the one that is there as well, right, Amy?
Yes.
As a pitch, and I think it works as a pitch because there aren't many shows out there that can tackle better advocacy for mental health issues and using creativity, whether it's like publishing, writing, film, photography, art, to use that as a creativity outlet for working on those issues and growing better individually. And that's why we keep having these interviews, and that's why we're kind of putting the network together to do that. I think it's a good pitch, so hopefully people will like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope I will.
I mean, it obviously is if it made the finals. So
yeah,
For sure.
I know, but I don't know what I look at all these other titles, and I'm like, man, these seem like just normal. regular. I don't know if I'm like, how did it get through?
Oh no! Don't start doing
You
that.
can't do that. Yeah, you got to be
Can't do
proud of
that.
what you've achieved
Well,
and
I will
believe in
say
yourself.
this. Letters to Daniel has finaled and been nominated a lot of places. It's only placed second, and the only place where it's won is at Script Summit for most original screenplay.